What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your second stimulus check update. And first of all, I want to thank each and every one of you viewers and subscribers to this channel. It's absolutely a privilege to be able to bring you guys the stimulus check and related news every day. I really feel like you guys are our extended family, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Going into Thanksgiving, I wanted to give a little thanks back to you guys. So again, thanks for watching. In this video, I have new stimulus check information. I have some very interesting news about the vaccine that you'll want to watch for sure. And I have another program that is passing stimulus money right now. But really quick, I want to give a quick thank you to today's sponsor, Morning Brew. They're a totally free daily newsletter that gets sent Monday through Saturday that keeps you totally up to date in the most interesting business and finance news, all within 5 minutes. Literally, as soon as I wake up, I open my phone, look at Morning Brew, and start reading because it's so easy to just do it while I'm there laying in bed and start getting my information for the day. And I like it myself enough to recommend it to you. For example, how to get extremely famous in 18 months. And check out this story from In-N-Out Burger that has brand loyalty out of this world. So if you're interested in business, finance, or interesting stories like that, just use the link down below in the description of this YouTube video to sign up. It's completely free and will take you about 15 seconds. With that being said, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy it. And now back to the video. New jobless claims are in, and they're higher than economists expected as we are going into the Thanksgiving Day weekend. Economists only predicted 730,000 people to lose their job just last week alone, and over about 50,000 more people than that, almost 780,000 workers last week alone lost their jobs for the first time ever during this pandemic. When you combine that with these self-employed and independent contractors and other special cases for unemployment, that makes over 1 million people just last week alone who are now on unemployment benefits and have lost their job in just the last week. In addition to that, close to 68 million Americans, roughly 40% of the nation's labor force, have applied for unemployment benefits during this lockdown since mid-March. So 68 million Americans, up to 40% of the current workforce, has lost their job at one point or another within the last 8 months. That is a very sad and sobering fact. As we're waiting on Congress to pass more stimulus, and economists are urging Congress right now to pass more stimulus.
David, how about you? When will you start worrying if we don't see another stimulus package?
I would say after inauguration. I think markets are content at this point. They understand that it's coming. Congress needs to get off their ass and actually do something. You know, there was a ripple last week when Mnuchin pulled the rug out from the Fed. But when you look into the numbers, you see that there's still $429 billion available out there if Congress just reauthorizes right now. And that's not happening. There's still millions of Americans out there who work in close proximity businesses that need a pathway. They need to get across the valley. We know we're going to get across the valley. The market's telling us that, but we want to bring everybody with us.
So, David, that $429 billion roughly that they took from the Fed essentially could go back into the economy. Is it going to go back into the economy? Wouldn't it need some kind of congressional approval?
It would need congressional approval, and right now it doesn't look like it's going to happen. But markets are a forward-looking mechanism. So while it's tough for the economy, and it's certainly tough on those that aren't going to get the stimulus, the market's looking through that and sees the cyclical trade as the best bet forward.
Now that $429 to $455 billion is just one package. There's actually money for the PPP program that hasn't been spent, and there's actually at least $800 billion, possibly more, as they're finding new money every single day that hasn't been spent yet. And this is just on the federal level. On the state level, there's also billions and billions of dollars that haven't been spent on the state level. And a lot of that money needs to be spent by December 31st. And that's why we're seeing a lot of these state and local programs actually give money back to their residents in the form of state assistance, stimulus checks, and rental payments. I'll have more for you on that in a minute on a new state that is passing money right now. But this $800+ billion that has already been approved by Congress once, apparently will need congressional approval again to actually be able to spend this money, which seems kind of crazy. I mean, we already had Congress approve it. What's the problem? Let's send it out. Let's give stimulus checks out. Let's give unemployment benefits out. Let's give money for small businesses out to pay for the paychecks of their small business employees. I mean, 1 in 6 small businesses have already gone out of business already. And that's as we're going into these new sky high cases with people losing their jobs still every single day. In addition to that, 14 million plus workers face losing their unemployment benefits on December 31st unless we see an extension, which will likely have to come from a stimulus package. And as you can see from this graph, when we had the first shutdown, you see these massive spikes on over 6 million jobless claims per week when we had the first shutdown. And now that we're starting to see a second shutdown, we're starting to see numbers rise again. It's hard to really see it here because these numbers were dwarfed so much by the first shutdown. But as we're starting to see restrictions, curfews, and partial lockdowns across the United States, one fears that this could happen again with a lot of the unemployment benefits that are going to end by December 31st. These special unemployment benefits or extensions were only meant to be temporary during the pandemic, but of course the pandemic is still going on, with actually all-time high cases of positive virus cases. One of them set to expire is called the PEUC, Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, which pays benefits to workers like the self-employed, gig workers, and freelancers who are typically ineligible for state unemployment packages. The previous stimulus packages made those available to about 9 million workers who received those unemployment benefits. At the end of this year, those 9 million workers will not be able to receive that anymore. In addition, is the PEUA, which is the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation, which pays up to 13 extra weeks of jobless benefits beyond the state's traditional 26 weeks or 6 months. Another 4.5 million workers will miss out on unemployment benefits if that expires also. Now, in recent days, both the Democrats and the Republicans have been under a lot of fire for not passing the stimulus package before the Thanksgiving break to help millions of Americans actually put food on the table and prevent themselves from losing their houses and prevent them from losing their homes before Thanksgiving. Senator Chris Murphy says, quote, Mitch McConnell is refusing to do anything. What we need for Mitch McConnell is just to enter the negotiating room. And that Mitch McConnell is, quote, afraid of splitting his caucus, and he's sort of putting the unity of his caucus ahead of the survival of the nation. Mitch McConnell says, I gather that Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic leaders in the Senate are still looking for something dramatically larger, aka a $2 or $3 trillion stimulus package. He says, that's not a place I think we're willing to go. But I do think that there needs to be another stimulus package. Hopefully we can get this past the impasse. Now, since this recent news of this $800+ billion that has already been approved by Congress and is sitting there in a bank account now in the Treasury, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin was actually able to get that money away from the Fed and in the Treasury, and it's sitting in a bank account now with the U.S. Treasury, but needs congressional approval again to actually be able to spend it. They could use that $800+ billion and then print an additional 500 billion to $1 trillion, which is what Mitch McConnell said he's willing to do. Let's just say $1 trillion plus the 800 billion that's sitting there already been approved that they won't need to print any more money would equal a $1.8 trillion stimulus package, which would be pretty much right down the middle to what both sides want. That's what we've seen previously offered from President Donald Trump and the White House team. But of course, we know that Nancy Pelosi didn't accept that before the election. Now they could get the same kind of deal with only a $1 trillion stimulus package and this additional $800 billion to spend that has already been approved. Just for reference, the stimulus checks alone of about $1,200 plus the $500 checks for dependents that went out previously costs about $250 to $300 billion. Okay, so you could get 4 different stimulus checks in there for the price of $1 trillion. They have $800 billion just sitting there that has not been spent and already been approved and could go out right now to Americans with stimulus checks and unemployment extension and money for small businesses through the PPP program. Now, let me tell you about some states that are passing stimulus to their residents right now. These are programs that are already approved, and a lot of states, cities, and counties are passing out money basically from the previous stimulus package where each state got on average over $1 billion. They're giving some of that money back to their residents. First up, Delaware has given an additional almost $8 million to 35 households in Delaware in the form of additional SNAP benefits for the month of November and December. Almost $8 million in Delaware being passed in the form of additional SNAP benefits. Your state might be doing this too, so I recommend you look into it. In addition to that, we're also seeing a new rental assistance program in the state of Arkansas for all Arkansas residents, Arkansasians, is a new rental assistance program for the state of Arkansas with $10 million in grant money and will provide up to 2.5 months of rent assistance to people from Arkansas. Now, 2.5 months of rental assistance or mortgage assistance, just for round numbers, could be $1,000 a month or $2,500 in total. We've seen several different states that are actually giving out up to $5,000 in total. I will be updating you guys with more states, cities, and counties with this every single video. If you know of any states, cities, or counties that are passing stimulus, comment them down below in the comments so our viewers can read through the comments and see what other areas are passing stimulus right now. Make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet. This way you won't miss out on new videos. You can click the bell icon to get notifications. We go live at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow for Thanksgiving, I will have a 10 a.m. Stimulus and news update. And then at 3 p.m., I will have a special video about the Biden administration higher taxes and stimulus that they want to pass. And there will be no 8 p.m. video tomorrow for Thanksgiving. So I want to wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you in the morning at 10 a.m. You can click on this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on Amazon FBA. I actually have a discount coupon for my program where I teach people how to sell products on Amazon in the description, or you can click this video to find out more how it works. Click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, guys. Happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you in the next video.